Ladies and gentlemen, this is shocking. I went back to the earliest interview where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was asked, when did he find out about the fight at the MGM Grand? And when did he learn about who was responsible for the shooting after the shooting?
When the shooting happened in Vegas, and this is just to clear up all the A&E stuff and the Fox stuff, when the shooting happened in Vegas, how soon after the actual event, the actual shooting, how soon did you know that who it was that shot, that it was Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crip guys? Did you know the second, or did you guys go back to Suge's house or the hospital, or where did you go to where you knew, like, oh, this is exactly who did it?
This is going to rock your world. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to the channel. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this. This is, and because, like I said once again, when you do your research, you come away with shocking new revelations and information, because a lot of the stuff was buried before a lot of people got up on it. So right here, I'm going to let you hear this. Gullible John from Bomb First 7 years ago. 7 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. This sounds like when Gullible John and Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. kind of first started to do Bums First, right? Gullible John asked him, I want you to go ahead and listen to it. Listen to it for yourself. Listen.
When the shooting happened in Vegas, and this is just to clear up all the A&E stuff and the Fox stuff, when the shooting happened in Vegas, how soon after the actual event, the actual shooting, how soon did you know that who it was that shot, that it was Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crip guys? Did you know the second, or did you guys go back to Suge's house or the hospital, or where did you go to where you knew, like, oh, this is exactly who did it?
No, not for a day or two. You know, once everybody got together and was talking about it, did I learned that you know, what had happened at the hotel. I didn't know about that probably until the day or the next day after the shoot.
Okay.
That what had happened, and yeah, so about a day or two.
Okay.
I think the war in Compton didn't start until about 3 or 4 days after the shooting.
You hear that? You hear that? This is the earliest interview that I know of where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was asked that question, and he said a couple of days later, he heard people talk. He didn't say Suge Knight, right? Like he did on OG Patrice. But more importantly than that, I want you to understand and listen to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. You heard Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. say it was a couple of days later, you know, I heard about it and so on and so forth. But I want you to listen, and this is the earliest, that's the earliest interview with him saying that, right? So you got to go back, not to the stuff that's been recent. Listen to his father in this interview saying when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. actually told him about it. And who did it? Just like John just asked him, Gullible John just asked him. So this is 7 years ago. This was more recent. Listen to what Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. father says. Listen to this.
I had gotten all kind of intelligence from my informants an hour after the shooting went down. Because Reggie is calling me Now Reggie called me as soon as he found out about it and told me that that Tupac.
Did you catch the cough? And then he looked at his father. You got to understand the story change. You see, the first video came before the Seaside police officer video. Notice the informants now calling and paging. But first, in the first video, it was just Reggie. Man, who do they think we are?
That Tupac was shot. He told me he was dead because he believed he was dead that night, and Sugar got shot. He called me and started telling me, hey, man, you know, there was Orlando and them behind this. They got in a fight because they saw the chain, saw Orlando and all that. He says, but it's them. So I start trying to work my people as to what happened. But what Reggie was finding out on that end, I was finding out from informers who was hitting my pager, telling me about what had just happened. So I knew basically who were the suspects. Because Reggie is calling me. He called me and started telling me, hey, man, you know, there was Orlando and them behind this. They got in a fight because they saw the chain, saw Orlando and all that. He says, but it's them. Where they were heading. And it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to call Las Vegas PD.
Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is not telling the truth. Gullible John over at Bums First knew and knows that Reggie the Rat these years. That was 7 years ago. Gullible John, I know he heard the OG Patrice video. I know he heard the video that I just played to you with Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s father telling him that Reggie called him the same night and told him who did it, right? And who was responsible. How in the hell, if he's saying to Gullible John on Bums First 7 years ago that he found out 2 or 3 days later, is his father gonna get on any channel at any time and say that he heard that his son Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. called him up and told him the night of? This is mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said once again, so when Keefe D says that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. orchestrated this situation or was somehow the mastermind, you understand why that's more believable now. This interview that Gullible John did was 7 years ago. The OG Patrice video, I think, was a year ago, right? His father, look at the date on this interview that his father did, saying that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. told him the same night. Who did it? So who's lying, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. or his father? His father really doesn't have no need to lie. But Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. always when you know, so because if he wasn't there, right? You would have to ask the question. You ask the question, you say, well, he wasn't there. But he told his father who was responsible for it that the same night. But when asked the question openly, you understand what I'm saying? Oh, I found out a couple of days later. But in private to his father, he told his father on the night of. You get it? Why would he do that? Why, when asked the question openly, it was a couple of days later? He told OG Patrice, well, it was when I went to the hospital and I went to Suge's emergency room and he told him. Ladies and gentlemen, something's wrong. Something's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I did some digging in the archives and it's simply not adding up. It's simply not adding up. These are 3 different stories that we know of that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has told, right? First, it was Suge in the emergency room. Then it was 2 to 3 days later. Then his father basically saying that Reggie the Rat Wright told him in private over the phone the night of that it was Orlando Anderson and the Southside guys. And these are not red flags. These are not red flags. And so, like I said, once again, when I heard this, and the cold part about it is, this makes Gullible John complicit in the deliverance of these lies, because you heard him ask him 7 years ago. He knew. So when Gullible John hears these other interviews, he doesn't question Reggie. Yo, why you lied to me? Yo, why you lying? You making our videos look inconsistent. You making me look bad. I asked you this and you told me this. Then your dad comes out here and does an interview and he says that you told him, the night of. So what's the truth, Reggie? Gullible John never cared. Gullible John never met Tupac Shakur. He didn't know Tupac Shakur, right? The only thing that Gullible John was worried about and concerned about was making money off of the name of Tupac Shakur and using Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. as the vehicle to be able to do that. But in the process, Gullible John has actually helped catch Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in some lies. Oh, absolutely. But the question is why didn't Gullible John check Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in regards to these lies? Something's wrong. Like I told y'all before, you keep on thinking that when I do these videos that I'm reaching. Nah. This is the guy that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. partnered with on Bums First. Asking him 7 years ago, before all of the hoopla with Keefe D, but before Keefe D's arrest, simply, when did you first hear about the shooting and what happened at the casino? When did you first hear about that? How long it took? Reggie said, I think it was a day or two. Yeah, a day or two or something like that, right? Right. But the cold part also is that Reggie's father told him, when Reggie told him, he wanted to tell him because he knew that the situation was going to come back to Compton, right? But then he says, well, I think the war started in about, 3 or 4 days after that, right? So it's a lie. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been lying all this time. I done caught him in about 10 lies. I'm serious. When I say 10, I'm talking about 10 pivotal key lies. I'm not talking about he just lied about that. Oh, he just told a little white lie here. He told, that was nothing to be concerned about. No, this is very serious, ladies and gentlemen. Very serious. And like I said, once again, I'm going to keep giving you this truth and fact based on the legacy of Tupac Shakur to show you how Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was complicit in his death. He was complicit in his death. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.